subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
Namaste, konnichiwa. Welcome to the Thenupurtewarishow, Shakti, women who fought odds. And today too, we have another incredible woman. And she is none other than Arti Agarwal. So Arti is an alumni of IIT Roorkee and MIT. She is an economics, data science, and marketing professional. She won the most influential content marketing professional award by World Marketing Congress in 2017. She has won 3 national international awards for photography. She is the author of COWNOMICS, a book on a cruelty-free ahimsa economy. Many more things about her you will know from this interview. So with big applause, let's welcome Arti. So Arti, welcome to the Nupur Tiwari Show.
Hi, hello everyone. Thanks for inviting me. And it's a pleasure to be on this show.
Thank you so much. And definitely, this is very, unique word actually. We just heard cownomics. So,
Right.
what is this cownomics? We would love to know.
Right. So, COWNOMICS is basically the revival of a cruelty-free, as I say, ahimsa economy, which is actually economically viable and good for the environment, good for health, good for animals, good for ecology. And, it's basically a more sustainable way of living. So as of now, it's taking a more global perspective. Like cruelty has become such an important part of everybody's lives that a lot of times you don't even realize that it's something you're using every day or something you're eating every day involves cruelty. And all of that cruelty is not that it's not like it doesn't have consequences. That's something which we have forgotten. And the consequences of the kind of horrible torture, death, mutilation we give to animals, it's a karma. Like, in Hinduism, we have the principle of karma. Although most, at least Hindus, understand what is karma, we still, on some level, we think it's a philosophical concept. We don't think it has a very real, tangible effect in our own personal lives, right? That's how people generally cognize karma and a type of a thing, right? But what in this book, what I've shown is that karma is very tangible, it's very real, and it's hurting all of us in very real ways. And the pandemic is one example for that. So all these pandemics basically happen through animals. These are zoonotic viruses. So that's just one aspect of it. So the whole farming system, the whole animal agriculture system, the whole fashion and leather industry, all of these are hurting the environment in ways which damage us. It's not just that we are damaging the environment, it's damaging our lives, it's poisoning our food, our water, our air. In Delhi, we have a, toxic air crisis. So it's Delhi today, but it's going to be other cities tomorrow. It's not that it's just one place, right? So all these cruelty-based lifestyle choices, it's not one action or one decision or one industry. It's a whole lifestyle which is bought into this cruelty essentially. And now we are facing consequences from it. We have such horrible health diseases. We have such a terrible environment crisis, but we are still not caring enough about the environment. And the most ignored aspect is that it's hurting the economy. The economic losses from all of these is like so huge that there's not even a real cogent estimate of it, that exactly how much we have lost in economic losses because of our bad cruelty based lifestyles. So the global warming alone is one huge aspect of it. The health and cost to human life is a second huge aspect of it. And then you have more tangible aspects like environmental consequences, the amount of fertile land we have lost, the amount of fresh water, green water, blue water, all these, how much we have lost because of excessive pollution and excessive poisoning of all of these resources. And then, of course, there is the other, losses like the pandemics. So just the coronavirus, the losses from the coronavirus alone are estimated by one scientist to be $8 trillion. And this estimate is from a few months ago. So, you can keep adding to that figure. So, somehow, because nobody till now has tried to sort of stitch all of these things together, we somehow think that it's a moral concept. It's a moral issue whether I eat meat or not. It's my personal choice. It's a moral issue. That kind of a thinking is what is more popular in people,
Now,
right?
I would like to, ask you, like, sorry, interrupting in between. So this is definitely, our karma. I know because I'm from a very traditional family. Like, we are not supposed to kill even an ant also,
Right. Hmm.
So this is the way I was also raised. But the thing is that, like, if you go to West, they don't have like pollution like Delhi. If you go
Hmm.
to West, many countries, in many European country, you'll find like clean air and they eat meat as well. So we have to, like, how do you see these things? Like they're like meat eater. They're eating all kind of meats and they have clean air. They don't have much problem. And because we are I think we believe that human is only one race, whatever country you are in doesn't matter. So how do you think that happens? The Delhi, the consequences and all the karma is coming back to us all those way. But those countries, how will you say like why they have clean air and they're
See, even countries like United States. I mean, I'm taking one example right now. They are running out of water. California was in a serious water crisis. So was Colorado, and this is again a documented fact. And this is something which has been proven scientifically that the water crisis and the water shortage in all these states is because of the beef industry, the beef and dairy industry in these states. Because even the dairy industry in the West is extremely cruelty based. There's not much difference between the beef and dairy industry in those countries because the cows are raised the same way, they are subjected to the same kind of cruelty. So I'm not against dairy if it is cruelty free, but I don't agree with torturing an animal for it, basically, right? So it's not that the same kind of effects will be observed everywhere. In India, we may be having a pollution crisis, but in countries like the US, the Gulf of Mexico is becoming a toxic swamp because they are dumping so much of untreated waste from these industries into the Gulf of Mexico that even aquatic life is getting completely wiped out because there is not enough oxygen in the water now. They have dumped so much swamp, and the kind of laws which are usually supposed to be followed for dumping any waste into the ocean from normal the cycle of waste, they do not apply to the dairy and meat industry. So they can just dump as much waste as they want. And then the second aspect of it is that the European countries are very clean because they import a lot of it. So the cost is actually externalized. They are not getting to see the actual, carnage. They're not getting to see how much people are suffering for their choices because they import a lot of the, especially things like leather. They are not manufactured that much in Europe. They import it from India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. So it is people in India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan who are actually developing conditions and who are developing, all sorts of skin diseases, who are dying in the
so we
workplaces.
are directly affected by karma.
Yes, and even in the meat industry in these countries, there is a documented report of how much the workers who work in animal slaughterhouses, how much they suffer because of it. And I'm not exactly clear about the condition in Europe, but at least in the United States, it's a lot of migrants who work in the slaughterhouses, and they are paid very less. They don't get the same kind of benefits as people in other industries, and they have problems like losing limbs. They have problems like excessive. See, when you're seeing that kind of cruelty every day, it has a certain effect on your psychology also. I mean, if you see that, say, those animals screaming and dying every single day of your life, it has a psychological impact on the person. I mean, I'm sure nobody does it because they want to or they like to. They work because they don't have another choice. They work for the money essentially, but it's not that you cannot do without it. That's the whole problem. So, and this is a uniform pattern everywhere. It's, I'm giving the example of US because US is very much in the headlines a lot of times, but it's true for other countries as well. And many of these countries also have documented reports of the kind of, diseases they are developing from consuming excess meat. So they're consuming much more protein also than they need to. So the recommended quantity of protein which you need to consume, they're consuming almost 1.5 to 2 times of that quantity, and that has serious consequences. So it may not reflect in the environment because your government is very proactive in cleaning the environment and sustaining the beauty of the place. But it does not mean that you're not getting affected by it. You're just getting affected in some other way. And like you were saying, the karma is very tangible in our personal lives, but it also has an impact on the overall peace of the society. So a lot of the disturbance, a lot of the political conflict we are seeing in the recent years can possibly be attributed to that animal cruelty. So many natural calamities. So in the last 10, 20 years, we've had much more natural calamities and much more pandemics and epidemics than in the periods before. And that's not a coincidence. And these are just statistics which we have documented. So, if you really want to dig deep and do a little bit of introspection, then we need to think about it that, it has consequences in some other places, but we have just not connected the dots to see how it is affecting the lives. If we
But
start connecting, yeah.
these days, Arti, you can see the people are becoming really vegetarian or vegan. They are, this is the number is increasing day by day. So, do you think people are because of karma or they are just choosing to be healthy?
It's for multiple reasons. Like you said, it's some people just feel like they can do without cruelty, like nobody needs to die for the food, that kind of a thing. So they may not know the term karma or, the Hindu philosophy or something, but they do feel that cruelty is not needed for their food. And secondly, many people sort of have tried vegetarianism or veganism for, say, a few weeks or something, and they could see very, very measurable impact in their health. Like they're not so slouchy, they are not so drowsy, their heart rate is better, their other biometrics, other things are better. So they can feel a difference in their whole biology in just a few weeks. So now, because of these, and then of course, see, I don't think a lot of people are becoming vegetarian because of environmental reasons, because that many people don't understand how it relates to the environment. But like you said, cruelty and health are two major reasons. But even then, like the West has started showing a trend towards, moving away from cruelty, but it's not enough. They still consume way too much meat. Like for US, it's like 120 kgs a year per capita consumption of meat. In India, it's still at least around 7 kgs. So you can see the comparison. That's because India has a lot of vegetarians, but still the number is still very, very high in the West. So.
Exactly. So okay. So now, even if we talk about karma, this is our philosophy, right? This is Indian philosophy totally. Then why India is not becoming vegetarian? Why so many slaughterhouses in India? And why, when India especially, it's not don't. I'm not going to bring any religion or anything here. It's Indian philosophy not to eat beef even. It's a meat eating also. It's not in our culture, but at least beef is definitely not, because it has a different reason behind it. We will talk about those reasons maybe in some other episode. But why so many slaughterhouses in India?
It's mainly, first of all, the slaughterhouses in India was started by the British. So before the British, we did not have a culture of beef or slaughterhouses. And even though in the Islamic rule, like, yes, they did, of course, kill animals and all that, because their culture was completely different. It was not our culture. But even then, slaughterhouses as an industry were never there in India. So when the British, who were actually a beef-eating country, when they came to India and they set up shop here, and they brought in more and more soldiers here, like in lakhs, then they needed to give them their kind of food. So that's where it started, and of course there was a very huge resistance to it. So it's not that they just established slaughterhouses just like that. There was a very huge resistance to for cow protection in India, and that formed the basis, the very foundation of India's independence movement, which has been erased from Indian history. But a lot of the unison of the country's people across economic divides and cultural divides was along cow protection. Whether it was all the Sanatani cultures, Sikhs, Jains, Indian, Hindus, Buddhists, everybody was against this entire practice of beef. Now, because of our political, structure, because India is not a Hindu country, India is only a secular country, we could not implement the clause of cow protection in India, even though it is mentioned in the constitution. So that clause is there, the provision is there in the constitution that India should start moving towards banning beef and any killing of any gavanch in India. It has not been implemented because of political lassitude or political, posturing. In the past, there have been politicians who won an election just on this one agenda for banning beef, but they did not implement it. So, a lot of things get politicized, and then now it has become a very big source of profit at the end of the day, because India is one of the biggest exporters of beef. So they are only looking at short-term profits right now instead of the long-term health of the country as a whole. So that is the reason, one of the reasons why beef has not gotten banned in India till now. And the second thing is, in India, it's not just that we are against animal cruelty, we worship the cow. But the younger generation is completely disconnected from these values, which we as a civilization have maintained for thousands of years. So since the younger generation has no idea of, our civilizational values, they don't care. So like so many people have seen, their previous generation, the families are completely vegetarian. But people of my generation, even from vegetarian families, are becoming non-vegetarian. And as people are getting more and more money in their hands, like, their earning power is increasing, they feel like, they can have anything they want. So they want to it's becoming a status symbol, basically. So a lot of people
Eating meat.
Yes, it's just becoming a status symbol. Like, we are so forward or progressive, or, like going after the West, like in general, how it is in India. We tend to ape the West, whereas West is learning from us. So it's more of peer pressure and status symbol in India, because of which people are eating meat. And of course, disconnection from our original value systems. So, and any measure taken by the government to actually move towards it is always politicized. The media always creates a huge ruckus around it. So any state tries to create any bans or any fines also on cow slaughter. Not just Indian media, even international media goes berserk. Oh, now India is moving towards this kind of a thing. I mean, they support veganism, but if India actually moves towards banning a cruel practice, we only get hate. So it's difficult to implement any law without actually, completely the media going completely running riot on it. So these are all the many different factors because of which India has not been able to ban beef so far. But I hope they will understand that how much damage it is doing to the country. Not just not just look at it short-term profits, but look at the country as a whole. And I hope we can ban it in the future.
So, do you think that the present government, they can ban they can always ban because they got vote because of that, I guess, the present one.
So any government can ban it. I mean, everybody has their own preferences in terms of political leaders, but in my opinion, it's not the political leaders who matter, it is the people. And we are still a majority in India. Hindus and Sanatani cultures together are still a majority in India. And it's a constitutional thing. There is nothing, there's nothing odd about it. It is already illegal in many states in India. So there is absolutely nothing wrong or even questionable about implementing a beef ban in India. Any government, any time can do it. They can do it tomorrow if they want. But it's just a question of taking that step and being prepared to answer people as to why this is justified. And those answers I have given in my book if they want to use it. Giving a 360-degree view of how you can move towards a sustainable economy without beef, without killing animals. So that answer is I have given in the book if they want to refer to it and bring about a beef ban in India.
Like India should be totally meat-free country. You mean to say, especially the beef-free country, because that
I
is
think we
not
need to
our.
start with beef first, and then we can probably start moving towards reducing the consumption of other meats. Now we have plant-based alternatives also in India, which like plant-based meats. So if meat-eating people want, they can switch to a plant-based item as well. They don't have to kill animals for it. If it's just a question of taste, basically, right? That's the argument given. So yes, we can definitely do that, and I think we should be the world leaders in this because the world has always looked to India for sustaining and for nurturing this culture of humanity and of kindness to everybody. So I think India should definitely lead the baton, and we should be the first ones to ban beef, and then move towards at least reducing the consumption of other meats. And see, these things need to be run on spreading the right information because people will always have hundreds of opinions on these things. So when you run these kind of campaigns, when you do some well researched policy based on a lot of experimentation and seeing what works, what doesn't, when you implement it with a sensible approach, it works. So anything which requires a change in people's lifestyle requires this information to be given to people. So people can come to that conclusion on their own also, that yes, this is actually a good choice for me, not that it's being imposed upon me. When people feel that yes, this is a good thing, then they also accept the decision more easily. But there needs to
Do
be a
you think
phase for
people will
that.
accept? Because at present day, I see whatever decision government is taking, everybody, the one kind of people, they're just whatever doesn't matter, they just don't see. The government is taking decision means I have to be against it.
No, it's not that everybody is like that. It's
No,
just the
I'm not
media
saying
presents
everybody.
that,
As a particular,
yeah.
particular,
Yes,
some.
yes, definitely. See, the media only magnifies those voices who are dissenting with the government. That's another problem. So, the picture anybody gets is that, oh, people are not happy with any decision of the government. Whereas that's not true. So, many of the things, I think the present government does have a huge mass support also. And if the vegan movement can be successful in the West, I see no reason why vegetarianism cannot be successful in India, right? So I think this should be a part of their agenda, and they should inform people. So, like I was saying, that we need to think beyond party lines on this sort of a thing. And if the current present government wants to implement this, they need to bring together their own vote bank for this. So there will be many people. Like, see, India still has at least 300 million vegetarians. So they will anyways be okay with it, right? And the others can be moved towards that figure, right? So we still have cities in India which are completely vegetarian. Haridwar is a 100% vegetarian city. You cannot find meat in that city anymore. So we have nurtured this culture, and we can start with things like that. We can start with all the holy cities becoming completely vegetarian at least. And then we can move from there. Gujarat is a dry state. We still don't have any alcohol in Gujarat. So we can take steps like that, which are good for people, which are good for the environment, and then expand it further from there. So these are things which need to be planned, which need to be considered, which needs to be implemented in a sensible way. Not that you suddenly pass a law in the parliament. That does not work.
Definitely,
When
people
people,
they people they have to understand that what is
right,
happening and what this is good for them with the
right,
reason, with the scientific reason. Actually,
right.
that should be any state in India they banned beef as of
There are
now.
many states in India. So I think half of the Indian states have banned beef, except for states like Kerala, Tamil Nadu. Northeastern states have not banned beef, but most of the North Indian states have a beef ban already for many years actually. So beef is banned in many states, But the problem is that in the states in which beef is banned, they transport cows from that state to another state so they can kill the cows. So that is an illegal thing, but it happens, and the cows are transported in really terrible conditions. Like they don't even have enough air to breathe. They're packed like 50 or 60 in a truck, which should be carrying only 6 to 10 cows. So they're literally packed like luggage into a truck where they don't have food, they don't have water. And so it's a very, very inhuman way of doing something.
It's
So,
like cruelty at its best.
yeah. So these kind of things are also happening in spite of beef being banned in many states. See, the states in which beef is banned have the maximum number of cows. So like states like UP, Rajasthan, these states have a lot of cows. But because there is a parallel lobby which wants beef, they actually do a lot of illegal practices in these states, and also they try to smuggle the cows out of the state, or they smuggle beef out of the state or something like that illegally. So there is, in some places the police is very proactive, and in some other places Gorakshaks try to intervene and prevent these kind of practices. But it is still based on mostly on individual effort. Like, there is no proper mechanism to monitor these things. So if we have a countrywide ban, then this problem can be checked a lot more, because then you cannot transport cows from one place to another to basically to slaughter the cows. So, yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think you gave an idea like what is COWNOMICS, and I think this is for this show is watched by many other countries' women also. So I think everybody should know. We should make another episode on that. So for the viewers, we would like to say that if you have questions for Arti, please do write to us. So she will be with us again with definitely with answers. And so definitely the next episode we would love to know like why we should save cows, that is with the scientific reason, which should
Sure.
be from your book. And like Goraksak, you just mentioned here. So Goraksak, what is Goraksak? Because I think that India is quite, they know with the term Goraksak, but the outside India they don't
Sure.
know. And why we should save cows? I think these things we have to know from Arti, but today actually, today we have to end here. So viewers, we'll be back again with your definitely with your questions and answer as well. So for today, here we are ending, but as we promised, we'll be back. So thank you so much, Arti, for your time and so much knowledge you have given, and more power to you. The mission you are on, we all support you, and definitely.
Thank you so much.
As
It was
you
really
said,
nice talking about this.
karma is definitely, the West and other countries without understanding, they just say karma is, there is dot, dot, dot. But it is really, and, it has many examples. So definitely people, whatever you do, be ready for the consequences, because karma does exist. so,
Yeah.
so thank you once again, Arti. Thank you so much. And for the viewers, I'll be seeing you again with another show. Let's talk business next Friday. Until then, do take care of yourself. Do love yourself too. So Arti, thank you once again, and looking forward to seeing you again on this.
Thank you.
Platform.
Sure.
Thank you. Subratri. Good night. Vesminasai. Namaste.
Namaste.
Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.